Hey guys, I waited on standby for Tonight Show again and got in. And this is my story. So, I was already in Queens, New York because I saw the San Diego Padres play the New York Mets at Citi Field. Went to all three games. This was before Nick Castellanos got released, which I was really upset over, but still went to the games. And of course, one of the seats I sat was near the broadcast booth, and I got to meet Don Orsillo for the second time, and that was fantastic. As usual, got a hug and a selfie. So, on Thursday, August 20th, at around 4 o'clock, that's when I set my alarm. It blasted off to Taylor Swift's Sweeter Than Fiction, which I haven't had that song as an alarm since that's usually for since the last time I relapsed anniversary, which is November 27, 2013. So maybe it has a meaning. We'll find out later. And so I got an Uber from Queens to Rockefeller Center. Got there around 4:40 something. Got into the building. Someone let me in. Turns out when I got to the NBC store, I was not supposed to be in the building, let in. So, because I asked him, where did I go for standby? He's like, well, you're not supposed to be in it. It's not open yet until 5. I'm like, oh, okay. And so, let me out. I couldn't get out. I guess the doors were locked, so I was locked in. And I was, so confused. But that got taken care of. And so, when it was 5 o'clock, I was let back in. I was the first person there. Someone else arrived a few minutes later after me, and I told him, yeah, the building's not open yet. Just a heads up, bring a hoodie. It gets so cold. You're not waiting outside like I did back in 2016. I wish we were, because the building was freezing, and I was miserable. So I ended up having ordering Uber Eats and getting Dunkin', a hot chocolate, because I was miserable and cold. That helped warm me up. And then around 8 o'clock, that's when an employee came, told everyone to stand up, make sure they had their stuff, make sure they had their IDs out, yada yada yada. And then we go into the store and we get a ticket with a number. I was number 1. Last time I was 4. So that was different. So after you got the ticket, I ended up going to Starbucks. I did not want to go back to my hotel because I knew the Uber trip was going back and forth was going to be expensive, and I did not know how to take the subway at all. So yeah, even though I'm a Padres fan, I'm wearing this because it's comfortable and it's like a pajama. I won't wear it in public because I'm a Padre fan. So this was one of the giveaways for one of the games. So it was a freebie, so I could not pass on a freebie. Alright, back to the story. Hung out at Starbucks, ended up slowly falling asleep, almost got in trouble until the manager realized that when I told him I was trying so hard to stay awake, he was like, okay with that. It was just a reminder you can't fall asleep. I'm like, okay. That woke me up. Walked around Rockefeller Center. That was really cool. Went to the Nintendo store. Well, not all the way to the Nintendo store. I play Pikmin Bloom, so I got a cute little Nintendo Pikmin, which I was really happy about, and I named it Fallon, of course. And so, after more walking around, I ended up getting my industrial re-pierced. The bottom one hurt the most, so, which was expecting, but it was much better than when I got it pierced the first time. And so after more exploring around, I went back to Starbucks talked to the manager. Manager's like, you can hang out here whenever you want. Because I told him like I was staying in Queens and I did not want to go back and forth. Which was cool. And so then made sure I went to the bathroom. Because you can't, when you're in line for check-in, you can't leave the line. They're really strict. So yeah, I got there around 3:15. That's what the ticket said. They start relining you up. This time it was like an order, and I got nervous for a bit, thinking, did I lose my spot? No, I did not. Because eventually, after getting your ID checked in again, and a ticket checked again, you get a bracelet, like a purple bracelet for standby, and then they put you in number order. So I was first. Then around 3:45, 66 people were allowed in, which was good. What was different was when we went to the room before we went to security, they did not tell you got in. I guess it's different this time. So no actual tears, but I did ask after going for security if I was in, and she said yes, and I did not cry. I was just more happy, shocked, like, oh my god, oh my god. But I did not want to jinx it because I wanted to find out if I got an aisle seat. Fortunately, I did not. I think I got the same seat I did as the first time. And I'm like, damn. And the rule is, if you get into the Tonight Show, you have to wait 6 months so other people can enjoy going to a Tonight Show taping. It's all about courtesy. And so I'm thinking, I'm gonna have to do this again. I'm going to do this again as many times until I get to interact with Jimmy Fallon. So I ended up demonstrating to the people in my row how I felt, and I fell again. But the difference is the camera's not rolling, and I don't think it was my shoes the last time. It was just the placing the step, the stone steps. But yeah, when they introduced them, I screamed. Did not cry, did not almost cry this time, but it was euphoric. It felt like I was back in 2016 during the first time I went to the Tonight Show. And the difference was they actually had a musical guest perform. When I went back in 2016, it was pre-recorded. I forgot the reason why. I think the band had to go to like a funeral or something. I don't remember. It's been so long. And so while they were setting up for the band, Dexter and the Moonrocks, Jimmy started doing a Q&A. And then like a fan would ask a question, he would answer. And that's when the light bulb came up. I'm sitting too far away. How about raise my hand? Hopefully he picks me. And I can tell him that my cat Fallon, she's right there. Hi. It's named after him. And that the last time I was there, I fell and then asked if I could get a hug. I think another person later goes to me, picks me. So I stand up. I start telling him that Fallon's named after him. And he's like, really? That's so cool. Like, your cat is named after me? And then I said, like, the last time I went, I fell. I was trying to give a high five and I fell. And I was wondering if I could get a hug. And he joked me, he said, like, no. But I knew it was a joke, and I did a joke and be like, but then he's like, don't worry, I'll not leave you hanging, like, without a hug or something. I don't remember. I blacked out. That's when my sight went tunnel vision. I'm actually getting out of my seat, going up the row. He comes in, meets me near, I think, near the top row, near like a desk where like interns are, and I get a hug, and I just start crying. At first it was without tears, which normal because of shock, and then he's like thanking me for being so like a supportive fan, yada yada yada. I kind of blacked out. I don't remember. I just remember, oh my god, I'm finally hugging my celebrity crush I had since I was 16 years old. This is the best day of my fucking life. And then I'm talking to him and I tell him like, Fallon's really shy. Like she's the total opposite of you. Because Jimmy is so outgoing and Fallon, if you knock on the door, she'll run and hide. She hates strangers. She even hides from my mom and my siblings. And so, I end up getting another hug. He's like, oh, another hug. I was just in a euphoric state. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I really don't care because, oh my god. So, it was much better than 2016. And he now knows about my cat, Fallon, who I named after him when I adopted her in 2017. 2 months after losing Marley. And so, after the hug, get back to my seat. I am freaking out. I'm hyperventilating. I'm crying. About to cry. And then then you know it, tears are streaming down my face. I'm like covering my face like this, looking back and forth, and then they missed. And then when it was time for the musical guest, the rest of the show, when the crowd's cheering, I'm screaming bloody murder. Because my dream just came true. My 11/11 wish that I would make a wish on came true. And I've been waiting like 13 years for it to come true. And so when Dexter and the Moonstone, Moonrocks was performing, I am sobbing. Oh my god. And then when the show ended, when he said goodnight, he went back up. They did not film it. It was cut off, unfortunately, but he did lean over and shook my hand. And that caused me to cry even harder. And so, I'm just sobbing uncontrollably after he left. After he said like goodbye to everyone and went backstage, when it was time to go back in the elevator while waiting, I am sobbing uncontrollably, shaking, could not believe, like I'm wailing. I felt like a Justin Bieber fan seeing Justin Bieber in person. That's the best way to describe it. Or One Direction fan seeing One Direction in person. I was hyperventilating. I'm surprised I did not faint. Was able to calm myself down in the elevator. And then when we finally got out back to the NBC store, I decided to go take the subway home. And I immediately started crying again, calling a friend, telling her what happened, that you won't believe what happened. I finally hugged Jimmy Fallon. I went to a taping, crying, sobbing, shaking. And that was one of the best days of my life. I still can't believe it's real. He means so much to me. I remember watching him on late night after relapsing on November 27, 2013. After getting off the phone with a friend, his show was on, and so I got to see the monologue. So he has special meaning, and I just can't believe I hugged him. That's all I ever wanted, was a Jimmy hug. I would get so jealous when other people would get to hug him. Like when my brother's friends got to hug him, I remember being livid and so jealous. Like, it should have been me. But you just can't give up. You just have to be happy for people. You can't be miserable over not getting what you want. You have to work for it. And luckily, there was a Q&A, and I got the light bulb moment. I'm like, I don't want to have to fall on television again trying to get a high five. I didn't want that happening again. And yeah, I finally got to hug my idol. And I'm thinking of getting a 4-leaf clover tattoo. I don't know where yet, but I definitely want to get a 4-leaf clover in honor of Jimmy. Because, wow, I still can't believe it. I finally hugged Jimmy Fallon. I finally got to hug him. And he gives great hugs. One of the best hugs I ever had in my life. And the last time I had a really great hug was back in 2015. Yeah, it's been that long. Even though it wasn't the same as that hug in 2015, it definitely surpassed it in a different way. And yeah, that was my story. So, asking Jimmy for a hug during Q&A is not a stupid question. Someone on TikTok made a video. She went to the same taping as I did. And I said, I was at the taping too. I was the one who asked Jimmy for a hug. And she said, that was such a sweet moment. And she was so happy that Jimmy did that for me, and that it was so sweet of him. Which, yeah, I think of my top 2 favorite celebrities, I hit the jackpot in the shows. I hit the jackpot of Don Orsillo, and I hit the jackpot of Jimmy Fallon. And that's something I'll never forget. Alright, that's my story. And yeah, I can finally shout on the rooftops, I hugged Jimmy Fallon.